And we're live. We're live on Facebook. We're live on YouTube. We're live on X. So, as you saw there, AMA, that's Ask Me Anything. We'll wait for some folks to come in here. And I'm going to refresh my page on this to make sure that my sound is good. And I'll cut it down after that. If you guys got any questions, the main reason I wanted to come in here, though, is to let you know that on Wednesdays, Wednesdays at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'm going to be getting back to podcast. I've now got it set up at both my spots, so that'll work out really good. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask them. I'll also go over look at a couple of questions that have popped up lately too and kind of go across those. But the main thing I wanted to say is that the podcast is going to be every week at Wednesday at 8 p.m. And if you can hear me good and the visuals are good, please let me know because this is the final test run. I was going to do it the first Wednesday, but that would have been the first. So I kind of didn't want to bother everybody on the first. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. I don't know about everybody else in here, but people have been asking for the most part, hey, look, what do I do because the weather's gotten so extreme? I don't know about your area, but we're in the 20s every single night. So you really need to keep those heaters on the trucks because if you don't, you're going to have a severe problem. And that problem is going to be broken heat exchangers, broken wands. And if you've ever had that happen to you, you know it can run into several thousands of dollars. I mean, really, it can go up to $10,000 these days. And you could be down for, for a couple of weeks because some of these repair shops are backed up a month or 2 months, or you have to travel quite a distance to get to it. So really make sure you get those heaters on. There's different ways to heat it. You could, because that was the question, what were some of the ways you could heat your truck mounts? The best way, of course, parking in a garage, right? That's the absolute best way. Like I said, if you don't mind, if you'll come in here and let me know how my sound is and how the visuals are, I'd appreciate it. And feel free to introduce yourself if you like also. But anyway, getting back to that, the number one way, of course, is to keep it in a garage, a heated garage preferably. That's the number one way, but not everybody has that luxury. So what's the second thing you can do? Well, a lot of guys will run an extension cord from their home or at their shop, and they'll run it inside there and put a space heater in there. And generally, you'll have one space heater by the truck mount, and then you'll have one by the other thing too. Listen, I just want to make sure my sound is good. So if you bear with me, I'm going to press this live button, see what it does. Yep, that's good. Sounds real good, actually. Um, as I was saying, it's a good idea to keep two space heaters inside your truck, but here's the problem you're going to run into when you have two space heaters. You might end up blowing a fuse. So make sure you're on two different circuit breakers. Make sure that you have plenty of amperage to go ahead and handle those two heaters. All right. And it's a good idea maybe to go to one of the big box stores and pick yourself up a remote temperature gauge. So that way it's inside your truck. The little thermometer will be in there, and you'll have something you put by your bed, and maybe it can alert you and let you know that it's freezing inside your truck. That's the last thing you want to happen. You don't want it to be freezing. And I recommend if it's getting anywhere near 32 degrees, go ahead and cut it on. I've noticed some guys sometimes will just put one heater in there, and the truck mount will stay warm, but a lot of times they'll end up with some damage on their wands or their hoses and stuff like that. So another thing you can do is you can go ahead and you can winterize your system if you want to. You can put some antifreeze in there. I recommend never using regular antifreeze. You can either use windshield washer fluid, depending on how cold it gets in your area, or you could use RV antifreeze. It's a lot safer. And when you have to go flush it out, you don't have to worry about doing much damage, right, to your we don't want get too much product or have to go through it and disposal, all the kind of things. Just becomes a hassle. Let's see, one more thing you can do, and this is something we did to all of our Aerotech box trucks. We recently went ahead and got ourselves a diesel heater, and you can get them. They're pretty reasonable, and they'll last for like 2 days, and they're really cool. And so you can kind of set the temperature at what you want. It just releases just a little bit of heat, but man, it keeps it nice and snug in there. And that's what we put in all of our Aerotech. So that's extremely convenient. But what is inconvenient? That is a blown heat exchanger. That is very inconvenient. They're very difficult to replace, very time consuming. If you don't know how to do it, and also very expensive, I would say heat exchangers being replaced these days, it's probably going to cost you $2,000 to $5,000 for your heat exchangers, and then you're going to pay, probably half of that for labor. Sometimes the same amount, but I would say it's probably going to cost you around $5,000 to replace the heat exchanger. So, who wants to do that? Nobody. So make sure you take the time and go ahead and get those heaters on the trucks. Get yourself the diesel heater, get your electric heaters if you have to, or get inside a garage or winterize it. We have 10 straight days in the 20s at nighttime here in Virginia Beach and Chesapeake. Carlo, I'll get to your question in 1 second, my friend. Thank you very much for the question. And, I found that a lot of times people say, okay, well, it froze and I don't have any problems the next day. Well, that's true. That might happen. All right. But here's the problem. Once spring and summer comes around, you have stress fractures in there, right? And those things will break on you. And when's it going to break? It's going to break in the busiest season of all, and you're going to be hating life, okay? Because now you're going to have to take your truck mount and get it repaired. And during the busy season, they're even further behind. I've heard of places being 3 months behind. Think about that. Can you really afford to do without your truck mount for 3 months? No. Maybe you can bypass your heat exchangers and clean with cold water. One thing about TMF chemistry, a lot of people don't know, is you can clean with cold water. But the problem is, when you clean with hot water, it speeds up the molecules, so you end up getting a faster clean. It cuts through the grease faster. People say it cuts better. It's not just cutting better, it's just cutting faster. And time is money. So keep that in mind. So that's what I want to say. And matter of fact, I'll add that into the title so people will know that when I put it up here on YouTube. Be really careful to not allow your truck mount to freeze. I can't overemphasize that. Happens all the time. And last thing you want to, I know some people who have actually had to just start their van up and run it all night long, because they're blowing fuses at their home, or they're having problems, or they ran out of electricity. So, or their electricity went out on them. So all those things can happen. There's lots of variables. The key is make sure you take care of your truck mount. All right. Carlos got a question here. Hey, Rob, can BioPro with a scoop of Pros Grade citrus solvent and a scoop of Citrus Lush DO be mixed together? Yes, it can be, and probably smell really good too on top of it, because really the BioPro and the Citrus Solve is going to keep the Citrus Lush. It's going to drop the pH just slightly. So if it's really heavily soiled carpets, I'd probably add a scoop of Frog right inside with that. That's me, Frog or Grout Master, and that'll give you that extra pH in there. But for the most part, I would think all three of those things will work fantastic together. I bet it smells great. I bet it smells really good. And I would think that would take care of probably 95 to 99% of all the carpets you're going to run into. Every once in a while, you just might run into a thrashed home. And if that home is really thrashed, then I would just add a scoop of Frog or something of that nature. I also want to mention again, because I noticed we're getting over 40 people now in here, that on Wednesdays at 8 p.m., every Wednesday, hopefully, God willing, every Wednesday for the rest of the year, there will be a podcast. We'll have a monologue to open up with, and we'll break down a subject like I just did right there. I broke down how important it is to, during the wintertime to keep your truck mount warm, how to keep it warm, and the expenses that come along with it, how to prevent it. So broke that down real nicely for you. And then I'll entertain AMAs after that. Ask me anything. So keep that in mind for future reference. So every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll have a podcast. My son helped me set this thing all up. Now got it at my house, and I have it here at my shop, or at my shop and at my home. All right. Next thing. Let's see. Sorry, I know winterizing is the topic, but any help with explaining traffic area wear to customers would be awesome. Okay, well, let's break that down a little bit. Hey, Black Diamond, I guess that's Nolan. What's up, Nolan? Let's break down Flow Clean. Flow Clean is asking, he's saying, can you help me with traffic wear and tear? Yes. First of all, what I would do is I want to determine if it's wear and tear. And I like to do a micro test. So let's just suppose I've cleaned the carpets and I've pre-sprayed them, I've agitated them, I've rinsed them. Now, if you really got heavily soiled carpets and heavily soiled traffic patterns, do not use an acid rinse. Use an alkaline rinse, or at least a neutral pH rinse. Okay, because That way you're not going to kill your cleaning power, and that's going to double your cleaning power, give you that 1-2 combo to knock through those traffic patterns. Now, let's suppose traffic patterns are still dirty. And I consider traffic patterns areas to come out of a kitchen, down a hall, in front of a sofa, and pivot points. Okay, those are your main points that you want to care about. So now what I would do is just do a micro test. I would take in a 2-quart container, I'd have a scoop of frog in there, right? And I would go ahead and I keep that around all the time. I put 1 scoop of frog inside of it. I would spray a little spot, and then I would take my towel and see if I get some transfer. If I get transfer, then I know that I can get it clean. So I'll just take that frog and I'll go ahead and spray it all over the whole area there. I'll re-agitate it, rinse it, and boom, it's going to look the best it possibly can. Now, if it doesn't improve and you're not getting transfer, well, then you know it's wear and tear. And you really should set that expectation level ahead of time, not after the fact. Because if you do it ahead of time, it's their problem. You do it afterwards, it's kind of like you're making an excuse and they think it's your problem. So does that help you there? Flow Clean, I don't know your name, but feel free to say it if you like. All right, what do we got here? Rob, a quick question. I purchased a CRB recently. What are the best brushes for area rugs? You really want to be careful with area rugs. If they're synthetic, blue is the best. If they are natural fibers, definitely make sure that you get either the white or the gray. Very important, because last thing you want to do is you'll rough up that rug by unwinding the fibers, and it'll have a really rough texture to it, and the customer's going to know it. Plus, it'll look bad too. It'll just dull out the rug. So make sure you use the right brushes on there. Very important. Hope that helps you, Jay. I would definitely go with white or gray. I believe white and gray is fine, but if you go, I don't see how you can go wrong with either one of them. But feel free to message us at Truck Mount Forums. That'd be support@truckmountforums.com, and they'll be glad to look it up for you. Plus, if you go into our store at tmfshop.net and you look at the brushes, and I think if you click it and there's an explanation in there and it lets you know which one's for which, but I'm pretty sure it's the white or the gray. And I think you can go with either one of those. Just don't go with blue or something stronger. Okay, Christopher King, electric oil heater did better than a little ceramic heater. Hey, that's a good point. That's a good point. I just don't want to mix people up, Chris, because I want them to understand that a diesel heater is diesel oil, diesel fuel, okay? But an oil heater you're talking about is basically like a ceramic heater, but just runs off of oil. I mean, it doesn't run off of oil, it runs off electricity, but it helps keep it warm inside the truck. All right, so let's just help people differentiate that. I put an actual diesel heater inside of my truck. And if you guys want, let me know. I'll be glad to throw you up a link on it. I think you can pick them up on Amazon. And then they're pretty reasonably priced and they're pretty narrow, but you want to make sure you get the right one. It's very easy to hook up, set it inside your truck, it bolts in, and bam, it really works well. Can't complain. All right, let's see. Next one here. The gentleman of the chemicals is the best professionals in the world. Since I started buying TMF chemicals from this gentleman, thank you. Appreciate that. My clients are very happy, and he cleans the carpets very well, and we clean the carpets very well. Man, they even clean up better than the other chemistry. The clients say, wow. That's what I like to hear. I say, wow, too. Thank you. Appreciate that. My carpets look so good and fresh and smell so nice. You know, one thing about our products, yeah, they cost just a little bit more. You might spend 50 cents or $1 more inside of a home using our products, but I really take the time to buy the safer ingredients, and there's more ingredients in it. Where a lot of these companies, and you see these influencers and stuff like that, they're going through these big corporate companies and they're really scrimping on the ingredients, the volume of the raw ingredients. They're scrimping on the quality, and they're definitely also on the safety of the product. So keep that in mind. Okay. Let's see. Getting messages even on my cell phone. All right. So just don't shortcut it when it comes to chemistry, because chemistry makes such a huge difference. So we're more of a small batch formulator. So we really take the time to make it correctly and use the absolute finest and safest ingredients. That makes such a huge difference. I'm telling you what, and that's why your customers say, wow. That's why they say it smells good, because, a lot of people are using some terrible scents where we're really big into, essential oils. And these are the things you need to be letting the customers know. It says it on the back of the labels. It lets you know that our chemistry, we use safer chemistry. There's, no VOCs, all those type of things. There's a little shot list on the back of it. No sticky residue, essential oils, all those things right there, environmentally friendly. All those things make a huge impact on the client. And if you're not taking advantage of that, shame on you. Because I'll tell you what, that makes a huge difference. You think about it. If you do go through those things and you explain that to the client, believe me, the next time it rolls around, she's going to think of you as the cleaner. So you need to be thinking about it in the future, not just a one time, wham bam, thank you, ma'am. We're there to make a client for life. And that's what our chemistry is designed to do, help you build lifetime clients and lifetime cheerleaders. Thank you very much. Let's see, Mr. GQ. That's a cool name. I like that. I don't know who you are, Mr. GQ, but I like the name. That's cool. Let's see. Love your products. Thank you. I appreciate that. My business partners wanted to catch up with you last month at the ISSA in Las Vegas. What trade shows will you be attending in 2025? I will be at the Experience I think it's going to be in Fort Lauderdale. I know it's in Florida this year. Feel free to look it up. Experiencetheevents.com, I think is what it is. I'm sure I'll be at that one. There's no doubt about it. But I wasn't at the ISSA. My son was actually there, who has the same name. So I think it throws people a little bit. But he's really good. And he's just, when you see my son, you've basically seen me for the most part. So thank you for that. I appreciate the fact that you love our products. We love having you as a customer, and we just really appreciate everything. Let's see, Nolan, it sure is. I hope all is well over there. I need to call you sometime. Absolutely, man. Yeah, Nolan's got a new child, right? Or one on the way. I can't remember if you had one in the oven or your wife just had one. How many you've had? Is it like 5 or so? My man. He's getting it done over there. Let's see. Flow Clean, yes, sir. Jay Main, thank you. Yes, Jay. If you need any more info on that, Jay, wait a minute. Here we go. Got a little more. He says here. Yeah, Christopher King was talking about it's the radiator style. He's talking about instead of just using the ceramic heaters, where I'm actually talking about a diesel burner, and it's all built in. It's one unit. It's really nice. It's clean. It's just a really great unit. I put it in all my Aerotech, so my technicians love it. And that says something because they don't have to go out there and plug that thing in every night. They just it's got a remote on it, hit the remote, fires right up, does a great job. Very quiet, very clean, just and it doesn't burn a whole lot of diesel either. So that's really nice. All right, let's see. Jay Main, you're right about your detergents. I've been in business for a long time and I've tried everything, but your products are by far the best. Thank you, Jay. Truly appreciate that, man. When you put your heart and soul and passion into things, and a lot of people don't know this, but recently we bought a chemical company. We bought a chemical company about July of last year. So we bought a chemical companies, and it's really expanding my knowledge base and stuff like that. And it's gone a whole lot further. And we have some great chemists on hand. So keep that in mind. All right, let's see. I've been cleaning carpets for 30 years and never found chemicals as good as the ones you sell. So professional. They also clean the carpets, and the customers are very happy. And at the end of the day, isn't that what it's all about, El? Rayito? I can't say your first name. I'm sorry, pal. That's a tough one right there. Okay. I could give it a shot. Let's see. Tropicalentana. And your last name is El Rayito. That's my best guess, my friend. And I hope I didn't butcher it so bad that you don't want to use our chemicals anymore. But I gave it my best shot. Okay. All right. So, I want to get back to that. At the end of the day, that's what the clients want. They want clean carpets. They want a decent person to show up. She ain't looking for a date. She's not on Tinder. She's actually looking on Google. She's looking for a professional to come do a fantastic job, look decent, smell decent, the truck looks good, the chemistry's right, they do a great job, get on down the road to the next time. That's what they want. So that's what I have in mind when I'm making our chemistry. If you look at my trucks, I don't just talk the talk, I walk the walk. And that's really important. If you look at my truck, it's organized, it's structured, it's wrapped. I'm not saying you have to have a wrap, but at least some lettering always does help. And then my chemistry looks clean. So everything's clean about it. And we are going there to clean, so we should be representing clean. Cleanliness is next to godliness. And let's face it, customers want clean carpets. So our products deliver. That's what counts, right? Let's see. Jay mentioned here again, you're correct with your products. I've tried so many throughout the last 15 years. Your stuff is truly the best. Thank you. And I feel like it is too. And I use it in my own company. And I've got a 5 truck operation here in Virginia Beach, Virginia. And I'm telling you what, I test all the products myself personally. I give it to all my technicians, and we don't release a product for at least 6 months to a year. We don't just throw a product out on the market. We test it first with our clients, with the fine furnishings. All that makes a huge difference, and that's how we come up with the best products. Along with the fact that we take no shortcuts, I buy the absolute best of everything. And I can go in there and buy lower grades of quality of raw ingredients and stuff like that and additives, but I don't. I buy the absolute best of everything, and it shows. Thank you. All right, let's see. Does anyone know if a 220 psi portable is enough to hook up a mighty hot turbo? I would think so. I don't see why not. You know, you could just you could call Mighty's 800 number. I don't know, you know what they have, how their service is, but we're a Mighty rep, and we could look for it, and we could check into that too for you. So again, just go email support@truckmountforums.com, and we'll be glad to find that out for you, Carlo. But I would think it shouldn't be a problem. I don't see why it would matter. You know. Let's see, Mr. GQ. Yes, your son is great. I love working with him as well. Awesome. Awesome. Glad to hear that. Oh, that's right. Here we go. Oh gosh. Nolan, which is Black Diamond Cleaning Services. If you're in chat here, it says he has 9-month-old twins. Good Lord. He's got 6 kids now. I'll tell you what, man, you're a brave man in this day and time. Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. Let's see. The biggest thing in business, you're being me, I guess, reachable. You're likable. Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you. We try to be. That's why we buy your products, and they also kick ass. All right. I like that, Jay. Thanks a lot, man. Truly appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. Hi, Rob. Your favorite exterminator. Appreciate you. Laughing out loud. Chaz? Did you know that I am a licensed applicator? I have my license for pest control also. I'm licensed with the state of agriculture and EPA in Virginia to apply pesticides. So, uh, congratulations. You're right. You know what? Pest control and carpet cleaning really do complement each other well, especially when it comes to fleas or general pest. Really complements itself well. Let's see. El Raytito says, is Rodriguez carpet cleaning? Okay. Awesome. Appreciate that. Thanks for clearing that up for me there. Appreciate that a lot. Let's see. Ted says, Rob, thank you personally for chatting with me and getting my stuff out in 2 days. Insane fast shipping. Awesome. Thank you. You know, we don't put things off. And another thing we never do and never have and never even in my mind or my heart is to tell people they have to give me a 5-star review before I send your products out. Did you know there's some suppliers out there who make you do that first? Really? I would never grovel or lower myself to the point where somebody can force me to give them a review before I ever even use their products. Amazing. Or hold back your money or stuff like that. We understand as a cleaner how important it is, Ted, for you to have your products and to have them on time. You know, as a cleaner, we know if you don't have your products, you can't clean properly, right? So, if you get your order in by 4 or 4:30 every single day, we get it out the same day, and we've worked with our shippers to enable us to get the fastest shipping possible. So glad you like that. Bob Pasha, hey, how you doing, Bob? Glad to see you in here. Jay, have you ever thought about creating your own Rotovac machine, your own design, making it better? I have a lot of ideas, and I'm telling you what, the problem is it's just not only so much of myself to go around. So it used to be when we were newer in TMF, and we started this about almost 20 years ago, I guess. We were able to bring things to market, and we were able to do things on the fly. I mean, right off the hip, boom, get it done. But now, as we have grown and we're now in other countries and stuff too, we just don't have as much time to get to some of our cool ideas that we have come up with. But believe me, we have things cooking all the time, and a lot of things are in the queue. We just don't want to say what they are because of the fact that it would alert our competitors, right? So appreciate that. Chaz said, "Oh, okay, I know that you did, and so you were okay. You got me, brother. Pest and carpet cross sells nicely. Yes, it does, man. I'm telling you what. When it comes to getting in with property managers, man, They love it when you can offer a diverse service, whether it's pest control, whether it's hardwoods, whether it's LVT, LVP, whether it's duct cleaning, whether it's countertop or stone polishing, and all those things we do. And if you can do those things and you do a really good job at it, I'll tell you what, property managers eat that up. They love it because they'd rather have a one-stop shop. And we try to be that one-stop shop. All right, let's see. Rob, what was your first portable you bought back in the 70s and 80s? Thanks, Carlos. I was in the business in the 70s. Okay. It's the late 80s. All right. Wow. Still dating. You're putting me back there to a date. You're sending me back in the Wayback Machine. The first thing I actually used was a Kirby vacuum cleaner with a shampooer on it. That was the first thing I used. And the irony of it is because I'd worked at a Kirby and a vacuum cleaner repair shop. And back then people would repair their vacuum cleaner instead of just replacing them. Now they're planned obsolescence and they're gone, right, in no time because they just wear out. And that's how they want it. But really, vacuum cleaners were made to last almost a lifetime. You could repair them back in the day. And so when I lost my job making about $40,000 a year back in the 80s, which was really good money, I took a Kirby shampooer. I went door to door. Well, actually, I went selling spot removers, my wife and I first, because I knew where the guy got spot removers from. So I was selling spot removers. And some lady asked me to clean the carpets. I said, sure. So I got myself a carpet shampooer. And when I did that, I went inside the home and I was cleaning. The husband was there, but the wife wasn't there. And what ended up happening was the lady comes home and she says, Kirby, I could have done that myself. I said, ouch. So I went and got some sheet metal. I got some pipes and I covered over where you couldn't tell that it was a Kirby shampooer. And I started cleaning carpets that way. I worked my way up to Von Schroeder's, which I guess was the original VLM machines, then to portables, then to truck mounts, then I started truck mount forums, which was the actual forum back in the day. And then we started the online store. I started an online school. I made a DVD, and we have a local distributorship. And now we're in 16 different countries. So, it's amazing what you can do if you just have the passion. Timing has a lot to do with it too. And you just care about what you do, and you love your industry. And I really do, So thanks. I hope that answers your question right there. Let's see. Are you going to be doing any, Lindell Zander says, are you going to be doing any in-person classes on chemistry for carpet cleaning? Yes, I have something planned. Maybe I should do that at the trade show. Maybe I might do that at the next trade show in Florida. Are you going to be going to the Florida trade show? Maybe I'll put something on for that. It's not a bad idea. But I've got something cooking. I just don't want to talk about it right now, but we do have something cooking. We are working on some classes, and I think it's going to be very unique. But give it a little bit of time to develop. It'll probably be spring or early summer when this all comes to fruition. All right, Bob says, my box truck transmission died tonight. Ouch. Decisions. Do I buy a new truck and move equipment over or buy a completely new machine? That is a good question. Well, I go over here. I would probably, that's a tough call. It depends on the condition of the truck, depends on the price of the transmission, depends on how many miles you have on it, what's the shape of the engine. There's a lot of other components that could wear out right afterwards. So you might just be, throwing money after something that's going to just be a bottomless pit. But if everything else is in really good condition, well, I'd probably just replace the transmission. That's just me. We are carrying a lot of weight around and stuff like that. So you might come off cheaper that way. You'd have to go by estimates, see what's worth to you. But a new truck today, let's face it, they're extremely expensive, right? Let's see. Justin Phillip, I've been watching through your videos on YouTube and wonder about the pros and cons of using a truck mount versus having it all mounted in an enclosed trailer. Good question. When I traveled around the country, I met a lot of cleaners who work out of trailers, but most people worked out of vans. If you can back up a trailer and you are happy carrying it around, a lot of people like using a trailer. Me, I personally like it all enclosed inside a van. but a lot of people do like it. And if you letter the van and maybe put some magnets on your truck and everything looks clean and neat, the customer's not going to care either way. And the good thing about it is that you're only dealing one engine. So if you have a truck problem, you just get another truck and pull it. So there's a lot of pros and cons to both, but there's really, I don't think there's any advantages or disadvantages to either one of them, except I just like having a van, everything in one place, and it's easier to get to. But you don't have to smell the chemicals. You don't have to smell, the dirty water, I should say, more than anything else, right? You know how bad those waste tanks can smell. You get into an accident, nothing's going to fly up and hit you, because you got everything's inside the trailer. So there's a lot of pros to it. I, I I can't see you going wrong with either direction. I think you also have to consider what is your budget too. Uh, you know, keep that in mind. But I think that basically covers it for you. Brian Adams, what's up, Brian? Hope things are going well for you, my friend. Let's see, Jay. Last thing. Thank you for everything with the CRB. We're getting an average of $400 to $600 per apartment. Good Lord, dude, you're killing it. Good for you, man. You have to remember, Tallahassee, Florida market is really low, so that's huge. Yes, it is huge. We're doing about 1.5 million with 5 bands this year. Gonna be bigger. My man, you're killing it. Good for you, Jay. Good for you, man. Congratulations on your success. And I'm glad you took us along with your ride in success. We appreciate that. Thank you. And hey, keep rocking it, man. All right, let's see here. Rodriguez Cleaning, I'm signing off. Thank you, and may God bless you. Thank you, and same to you, and give you many years to continue making these and such professional chemistry. Thank you to the next time. And don't forget, the next time is Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Okay, Wednesday, 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time every single week. Bring your questions. Any questions that you have just like this, bring them on and see if you can stump me. I'd love for you to try to stump me. But I love answering questions. I love giving back. I believe in the law of reciprocity. I believe if I help you become successful, you help me become successful. And I'm basically living proof of that fact. So thank you. All right, let's see. Replying to Justin Phillip, Raymond Reagan says, I used to run out of a trailer. It's hard to do townhomes. Yeah, okay, that's a good point. Because you can't always park in the street at townhomes, right? So I guess you do need to consider your geography and your neighborhoods and how they're all laid out and stuff, and your clientele. So there you go. Good point. Thanks for responding to him, Raymond. Appreciate that. Dan says, I'm trying to grow my Dan Cohn. Welcome, Dan. It says, I am trying to grow my business area. What's the best way to grow your business coverage area, or do you just go for it? Well, you need to consider if you haven't dominated your immediate area, I don't think I would move out to the other areas until I've dominated that and then work my way out. I think that's the best way to go about doing it. But I would concentrate on the smaller area and then work my way out as I build the foundation. If you got a good strong foundation, you can put a lot on top of it. I got that point. Thank you. All right, appreciate that. Thank you. Let's see. Okay. Let's see here. Does that answer your question, Dan? Let me just look at that question one more time here. I got the chat over here, by the way, so that's why I'm not looking at the camera, folks, when I'm doing it. Let's see. Trying to grow my business area. Let me just make sure I understand your question. What's the best way to grow your business coverage area, or do you just go for it? Well, let me say this. I live in, the Virginia Beach, Chesapeake area. We're a 7-city district. Okay. So we have 7 cities. And I think in the 7 cities, we might have, I don't know, maybe 5 million people, which is a huge number. But when I started out, I was really focused on my city of Virginia Beach first, which is about 500,000 people. And then I concentrated on the city of Chesapeake, which was about, I don't know, 100,000 people. And then I just kind of branched out from there. That way I could focus my advertising on that area. There's so many little things you could be doing in that area, and I would focus on that. But didn't mean I won't travel over to the other areas. And you're going to have some bleed over, but I would really focus, first of all, on the region that I find myself in or the city I'm in, and then work my way out from that. All right. Joshua Trujillo says, have a good evening, Rodriguez Carpet Cleaning, and thank you for all the thumbs up. I appreciate that. I got handed a commercial job. What is the best way to price it out It's for a charter school. We do several schools and private schools, and there's different ways to do it. A lot of guys do it by square footage, and that's fine too. And I do it by square footage sometimes. But I like to go in there and try to find out what their budget is, maybe what they paid last time, if they're willing to divulge that, and make sure it's in my range. And then you can go in there and kind of figure out, well, how long is it going to take you to do the job? You know, because then you kind of figure out what do you want to make an hour, maybe 150 to $200 per working technician per hour. So figure how many hours it's going to take you. If it's going to take you 5 hours to do it, well, then, that's $1,000 if it's $200 an hour, right? So that's kind of how I would look at it, but doesn't always mean they're willing to pay that. Okay. So you got to figure out what their budget is, what they're willing to do. Plus, you got to also think about how soiled it is, how often are they going to clean it. If they're going to do it on a regular basis, well, I might offer them a little bit of better value, right? And also, do I have to move things? Are they going to have it vacuumed and prepped before I get there? When will I have to do it? Will I have to do it on the weekends, late at night? I'm going to factor all those in there. So keep that in mind when you're working out the price. But at the end of the day, you got to figure out what works best for you. But if you can get somewhere around $150, $200 per working man hour, hey, that's what I would shoot for. All right. Jay Main, to all the cleaners out there, I wish everybody a happy 2025. Let's all make lots of money and very prosperous year. Amen, Jay. Amen to that, brother. We had a great year last year, and we're looking forward to have a hopefully better year this year, right? Let's see. Dan Kahn says, yes, thank you. I already dominate my area. That's why I'm looking to grow. You go, brother. Ain't nothing wrong with that. I always emphasize and cannot emphasize enough to make sure that you have a solid foundation, that you've got your equipment right, you got the truck right, you've got everything, you've got all your systems in place, you've got your goals in place. You're just building that foundation, and then there's some clients, good quality clients, a lot of reviews, your marketing strategy, your social media. If you got all that together, now you've got a nice solid foundation. And then a solid foundation can handle all the weight you put on it. Okay. But if you build a poor foundation and you start putting that weight on it from other areas and trying to expand out, you'll outstrip your capabilities. You'll outstrip your management capabilities. And you might do even personal damage in your relationships because you're so overwhelmed. So make sure you have your systems, make sure you have your people, make sure you have your processes, make sure you have your chemistry, make sure you have that all dialed in and that foundation is solid. And then, man, go for it from there. Can't go wrong. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to go ahead and cut this now. Like I mentioned, Wednesdays at 8 o'clock. If anybody could suggest a time that they like better, it's not written in stone. There's going to be Wednesday at 8 o'clock. But as of right now, I feel very good about Wednesday. Help you guys get over the hump. And we'll have several questions that come up on Monday, Tuesdays, and the other days. And I'll bring them in here. And I think that will help everybody because let's face it, the more you learn, the more you earn, right? Let's see. Benjamin Paola says, a couple of weeks ago, I had a questions on some products, and Rob answered me the same day. Thanks, Rob. Oh, man. Appreciate that, Benjamin. I do the best I can. We get a lot of questions every day. You'd be surprised. And that's part of the reason I'm going to be focusing on this podcast. So if you have questions, try to bring them to here to the podcast. But if you need them in a timely fashion because you're at a job and you got something going on, reach out to me through Facebook. Is probably the absolute fastest way. You can either ask in the group and tag me or go to Facebook messages. I try to get to them as fast as possible. I'd love to help you guys. Let's see. Jay says, Rob, do you still use Hydroforce sprayers or electric pump up sprayers? I use both, but for right now, I still use my inline Hydroforce style sprayers. I mean, they're just so fast, and to me, time is money. It's just very convenient. I don't have to go fill it up and stuff like that, like you have to fill up the container every single job. Well, you actually, you kind of do. I just think it's just a convenience factor, you know. I would say it's the convenience factor. Maybe it's just what I'm used to, but one or two of my technicians, they like to use the electric sprayers. I keep the electric sprayer mostly for spraying deodorizer or spraying my urine ahead of time, sometimes for my Unchained for taking care of urine. But for the most part, I like my Hydroforces. I keep two on the truck. I keep a gun and the hose hanging, and I keep one with Unchained in it and one with my pre-spray in it. So I just pop it on, go inside, knock out my urine, all the urine stains with my TMF trusty UV light, hit all those urine stains, rub it in with the TMF shuffle with my foot. And then I just go from there and grab the other container, grab and hook it up, go inside and start spraying. So to me, I really like the convenience of the inline sprayer, but you can't go wrong with either. I like having both personally. Okay. Raymond Riggins, I'm looking to use your product line and need a startup package. What do you recommend? That is a little bit of a lengthy conversation. What I'd recommend, Raymond, is you're welcome. I see you're on Facebook here. You can either call our 800 number, and I offer free 15-minute consultations. I'll be glad to walk you through it completely. Because let's find out what your business model is, what your cleaning style is, the type of soil loads that you run into, all those type of things, and the equipment that you have, and I'll dial it in for you. Okay. And don't forget, we also have laminated mix guides. So we have that mix guide, and it breaks everything down for you. Maybe I should do just maybe I'll do a podcast. I've got something special for this Wednesday coming up. And maybe the following podcast, I'll go ahead and break down what's a good startup chemistry. That's a great idea. Yeah, I think I'll do that. But in the meantime, reach out to me through Facebook Messenger or tag me in a thread or email us at support@truckmountforums.com. And I'll be glad to give you a call. Just give me your cell number, figure out a good time. I'll buzz you up. We'll walk you through it, and I'll help you out quite a bit. But, a good pre-spray, good deodorizer, but I'll walk you through all that, Be glad to help you. All the labels are awesome. I think I have all of them. Yeah, so you can't really go wrong with any of them, right? I appreciate that, Benjamin. All right, guys, like I said, it is now 10 o'clock this time here. I tried to start at 9 o'clock, but I think I started at 9:15. I appreciate everybody coming in here and asking the questions. That's what this was, an AMA. Robert Johnson, what do you have for upholstery cleaning? Stop it. I'm just kidding. Well, we have several different products. Revive's probably one of our bigger sellers. And I like using Black Label myself on all synthetics. It's a powder, so it's more economical. And then I'll use Revive for my naturals. But if I get into some cotton, you definitely want to have some cotton and linen shampoo, and we sell that also. Definitely keep a container on hand just for those type of situations that you run into. Hope that helps you, Robert. And feel free to message me on Facebook, and I'll be glad to break it down for you or give you a call too. Man, these keep on coming here. Looking for a different ozone machine? I see you have one for sale. Do they have plates that you have to change out periodically? No, you don't have to change out the plates. And again, maybe one night I'll go through a deodorization and ozone machines. So I'll save that. These are all good things because I'll break these down in future podcasts. Like I said, I want to open up with a monologue at each podcast. And then after that, I'm going to have an AMA. So remember, I'll have a main subject like I did tonight. I talked about how important it is to keep your truck mount heated in the wintertime because you're going to run into a lot of problems. Heat exchangers breaking, wands breaking. You can do many thousands of dollars worth of damage, and you can be down for weeks or months at a time. And that's not good. That's horrible. So keep those heaters in there. If you didn't catch all the things that I talked about, this will be up on YouTube. You can go over to our live videos and our podcast. Just go to Truck Mount Forums on YouTube, and it'll break it down for you in there. Okay. All right. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. Take time, like, comment, subscribe, ring that bell. Really helps me a lot. If you're not part of our Facebook group yet, Truck Mount Forums Carpet Cleaner Professionals, please do so. We're the largest group on the planet. And when it comes to, cleaning, restoration, we'll help you out. And we have several other different smaller groups. And we also have for sale groups too. So if you want to buy something that's used or sell something that's used, you have all that there also. All right. Well, I'm Rob Allen with Truck Mount Forums. Hope you guys enjoyed this little AMA. Watch for it for Wednesdays, and we'll take it from there. And if I get a better response on another night, because sometimes if I can't make the Wednesdays, I'll make it up on a weekend. And if I find there's a time that we get a better response and more people can get involved, then I'll go ahead and do that. All right. Thanks a lot, everyone. Have yourself a great night and have an even better 2025. Rock it out, folks. Take care.